So let's start. Okay, so hi, Tuhin and Akhil. I think I would like you to introduce yourself first.
Yes, hi everyone. So I think everyone already heard on my last presentation, but once again, my name is Tuhin Banik. So I'm from India, and I'm the founder of ThatWare. And once again, my vision is to reshape the industry of SEO. And yes, I'm only into the SEO itself because this is my expertise. And just to revolutionize the SEO with the help of cutting edge strategies, not only AI, but to the very best and the most cutting edge strategies and the technologies ever present. So this is what I do. So
Thanks, Tuhin. I'm Akhil. I lead the SEO for HP for APAC. I've been into the industry for the last 10 plus years, so yeah, a good time, I think.
Okay, great. So let's start. So my first question is, and this is basically the thesis statement, how to get the most out of SEO during these tricky times. Related to that question is how SEO can be a great relief to fight the upcoming recession. So basically, why SEO essentially?
Yeah, I think to start off, I would say that SEO is not something that's a specific discipline. It cuts across marketing. And to be honest, I still remember a quote from a movie, which is The Karate Kid, where Jackie Chan says to Jaden Smith that Kung Fu is in everything you do. How you take off your shirt, how you take off a jacket, how you treat people, and so on, so right? So SEO is something similar to that. How do you code your website? How do designers do the UX? How does brand does the reputation management? All those things touch SEO to an extent. How do you educate them and make sure that they integrate SEO into a part is very important.
yes, so I do agree with that. But on an add-on side, so what I would also say that if someone is having some tighter budget, like oftentimes I do come across some clients who come and say that, hey, I have low budget or I have like very less budgets, and like exactly what we can do on a very specific budget so that we can see some momentum gain in our campaign. Now, in these particular cases, what we normally do is like we kind of try to understand their pain points, like where their most revenue would come, instead of not working on all of their areas or categories or even their business niches. We pick just the YMYL cases, the main money landing pages or the important pages which actually brings the best profits, and then we laser focus all of our focus just in just one particular thing. Because if any client can see a revenue or a return on investment from a particular thing, then they can upsell or they can increase their budget. And this happens with me all the time. Like whenever we launch a campaign, maybe after 2 or 3 months, kind of clients triples or almost. I have clients who even increase their budget by near about 20 times itself. So this is, I think, one of the best strategies which I personally follow, and I would even recommend that people should follow. Because the thing is, Samantha, like I have worked with some of my competitors, and what I see is that when people starts out the journey, people starts out doing everything just to impress the client. But I don't really think that should be the strategy, because money should not be from everywhere. If you even ask me, like my AI-driven SEO package sells the most less, to be honest. What actually sells is a proper digital transformation solution with some revolutionary technological ideas, because every campaign can have some technical difficulties. So this is where I think people should focus if someone have a tighter budget. Thank you.
And I think to add to that, you don't need a very big team to start with SEO. You can start small. You can build SOPs. I think you just need that one right person who knows what is SEO. Probably a subject matter expert. It can be a partner. It can be in-house. But I think if you build the right SOPs, if you build the right guidelines, integrate them, that is where all it starts. It doesn't start, and it's kind of untrue at times when people say that SEO takes time. It takes 6 months or a year, and that it depends, right? It depends. It doesn't take so much of time, and it just takes patience. I think that's key to it, and you can get results in a month or two, even, right? You just need to know how to place the right steps at the right stage, and that's it, I think.
So to sum up, right, basically, Tohian's point is prioritization, how I see it. Like, even from our perspective, like, to really communicate, we have to choose what you said, like your top performing landing pages and how do you optimize them. So that's a really good point. And as to Akil's point, where SEO touches everything, that's really a fantastic point because I actually came from, my background is heavily editorial, which is basically content. And back in 2012, SEO scared me because I didn't know what it was. It was threatening my livelihood, but then you realize that it's just basically optimizing content. It's just content with better sense of, so I think that's a really good point to convey to our stakeholders that SEO is something that you can integrate organically into your processes, correct? All right, so our next question is, so talking about budget, and of course a lot of us are bogged down by that, how do you convince, and this goes to, for example, Akil who's from a global company as well as Tuhin, how do you convince your global stakeholders to get more buy-in? Like how do we get the tools? How do you, in this economic crunch, what do we tell our leadership on how to invest in SEO?
So the first thing is like whenever I get some stakeholders or some enterprise level clients, my first thing is actually I do not sell SEO at the first stage. What I really sell is like I sell a complete brand solution, or you can say complete online digital solution, because my key factor is like the thing is SEO, AI, these all are technical jargons and means nothing unless we really provide some value. And value, any online marketing value is only ROI, like how much you are investing X amount of budget and how much you are getting in return in how much period of time. So at first we try to curate customized strategies and solutions. Like we don't just sell SEOs, so we try to understand where their problem is, if that is a content, if that is something from the branding perspective, if even that is from the penetration segment. So we try to understand that, we jot down all the pain points, we figure out some essential strategies, a kind of a SWOT analysis where we identify the strength, weakness, opportunities and threats. And then we lay out with a good projection week-wise. I think transparency is one of the key for any enterprise client. Like any enterprise client, transparency and the more like how much like the feeling of connectivity you can provide to them. Like if you ask me, like I have 128 in-house resources, but my client is only near about 3 to 400. Like my people versus client ratio is just 1:3. And the reason is like we provide dedicated touch to all of them. So like a dedicated team, transparency and a customized solution, I think is the most essential to land on some enterprise client. So however, there are other key factors, but I think these three are the essentials. So yeah.
Thanks for that. I think I'll take a slight different approach to this. What I'm doing is it's fine and fair, but when it comes to selling in-house, I think it works like a sales model. You need to have relationships and you would need to know whom you're selling to and what do they want. For example, like taking back a few years back, I used to work for an insurance aggregator, which is the topmost aggregator in India, and I knew the demand, right? They wanted to be the search leaders in the next 1 year. I could have spoken about revenue, I could have spoken about anything else, but I thought what matters to them most is competitiveness. So, and this is just my homework. What I did was I just went to LinkedIn, took out the competition, the number of people they have, the average salaries they pay, how much they're investing in SEO right now with the company, and what the other companies investing in them, right? So I think it sometimes comes down to comparison. That how do you compare yourself with the others, and how do you put that point forward? That why do you need to invest in SEO, or not even SEO, right? Why do you need to invest in the discipline that you look forward to getting from? So I think it's that point where it comes down to, and that's how you can play it. Whereas speaking about enterprise, it's not much different. It's almost the same. I worked at enterprise skills as well, and for them SEO is more about attribution. Like how do you attribute? Because B2C is easy to attribute SEO. You do have direct marketing channels to attribute SEO, but for a B2B, the conversion cycle is very long, right? So then how do you make known that you were the first touch point and probably were the touch points in the middle, right? So how do you influence that entire cycle? I think that's where you can drive value.
Yes, and one more point is like just as Akhil said. So yes, I do agree with all the thing, but I think for enterprise client, it's also very important. Like before even beginning the journey, they should have an understanding of the team hierarchy. And the reason why I mentioned in-house resources is because 70% of the time, whenever I try to land an enterprise client, the first thing they ask is, will you outsource the work or will you do it in-house? So I think that's very important because outsourcing people does not like if I am to invest 10 grants on a particular thing, I would want the things to stay within themselves. I don't want like my things to be circulated elsewhere. So I think it's very important to showcase like you have the team, you have the strength, and also you do everything in-house because this really gives the connectivity that they are in the right place. So once again, like, and fourth point is like they should also have the feeling that they are in the right place, else they would not continue on the enterprise plan. Because like as Akhil said, I think I 100% agree on that. Like actually there is no difference between enterprise and a normal package. I have seen clients who have converted from a very basic, like maybe some few $100s to almost up to few grands. So I have seen similar instances. So there is not much difference. The only difference is how much value you bring to the table, how much transparency you provide, and how much you can provide that integrated solution, the customized approach. So I think this all makes a proper direction in landing an enterprise client.
Yeah, and just to add, I think education is important. This is where most of us lack. When we talk about SEO, we do talk about a lot of metrics, I don't know, clicks and fetches, all those things, but they might not make a lot of sense to all of the people, right? So you need to talk their language, you need to educate them what you do and how do you do it. Otherwise, it just gets boring, and they're just, if you have the revenue, then it's fine. If you don't have the revenue, then I think we can take a backstage. Right? So I think the education piece is quite.
Yeah, really great points, guys. Just to add to this point, so I think going back to Akhil, he also said something about comparison, and this is and making it easy for them to understand. So I remember one of the ways we convince them from the get-go is we type a certain keyword that we want to rank for, and then see where our website is versus the competitors. That's the first point of comparison that can really explain easily to them why they need to buy it in. And speaking of what Tuhin also said about hierarchy, I think that's also a great point to make sure that you have the team to make it work. Because, for example, in our case, our SEO is purely in-house, right? So there's and we also work with agencies, so we also have to prove that even our in-house team can have that capacity to make things happen. Yeah. Okay, so our next question is, and of course we're gonna dig deeper because we want to make sure that we cover all bases. So how multi-search can change the way people use search engines. And of course this is very important because we also want to make sure that whatever SEO optimizations we've done, we're reaching the right people. So, okay.
So I think like multi-search is just a new trend which people are using nowadays. So I think 2-3 years back it was just like Google My Business got the trend. Like even like Kirana store owners were also started to using Google My Businesses. Then after that like there were 3D maps like on some locations obviously. Then nowadays voice search is on the trend. So I think it's a periodic shift of how people are actually using the search engines to extract the informations, and I think with over time this would be more like relevant. Like I think augmented reality, AR is the next big thing. If I do not understand something, if I just open Google Lens, I just see what I want and I think they can predict like what you are seeing. But these all things can be optimized because I really like on my presentation, just like I said, like these all factors can be really optimized. And once again, coming down to the previous question, for any enterprise level client where we can provide enough work opportunities, I think one should really leverage all of these advanced strategies because like obviously if a business is giant, then people should optimize all the channels, not social medias, not the organic, but also the images, the videos, the news sections, the maps, etc., etc. So I think yes, this really can change the way the people are searching.
Yeah, I think Tuhin covered most of the parts, so there's nothing much me to add here. But I think multi-search and search intent tie together very well, right? So for example, if you talk about offers or savings, there is data, and I have that data with me saying that In Singapore, if you look at the data trends, you look at cashback, you look at offers, you look at coupons, you look at deals. Cashback is the most searched. That people search a lot with cashback than anything else, as compared to Australia, where people look at offers, compared to India, where people look at deals. So they mean the same thing across markets. Just how people search is different. They use different intents to know what they want, and that's how you could optimize it for, right? So if Singaporeans search, or in Singapore it's search like cashback, that's where the most value lies. In India, it's more deals. In Australia, it's more offers. And they do the same thing. Laptop offers, laptop cashback, laptop deals, doesn't matter. It's a saving point. How do you communicate that? How do you optimize it with the right keywords? I think that makes all the difference.
Yeah, I have to agree with that because I think we've also done a lot of analysis where we realize that because we handle like multi-countries, like what one, like how you say it in one country is different from the other. And it's really making that key localization that is key, right? So, and I think that this point is related to our next question, which is all about semantics, right? Like semantic lattice indexing. And so, Tuhin, what do you think is why semantic engineering is the future of online marketing?
One of the main purposes, I think, people should avoid spam marketing, because like you are in the SEOs, and so as a kid, so I think being an SEO, like not only SEO, but from any marketing segment, people always try to rank for a particular thing. So in order to solve that, there were older concepts like keyword densities. People used to inject a lot of unnecessary keywords. They used to make the title look spammy. I think for any marketers, these things are a big challenge. And so as are the challenge for search engines as well, because they want to fight the spam. And spam fighting cannot be only done through backlinking or like restricting a particular low authority sites, but I think the most relevant would be rejecting or lowering down the rank of unnecessary content which does not provide necessary valuation or context to a particular query. Now, here I'll not go much deep, but this is how the semantic is evolved, and this will evolve. Like this has already been evolved since 2015 onwards, but I think the things are more improving. And one of the common reason why, if you simply do a Google search now with any particular keywords like buy mobile phones or like rent a car online, you would see that the best performing or the best ranking sites does not even have that keyword. So this is where like Google is placing, not only Google, but even if I speak about social media, like social media algorithms like LinkedIn, only it judges your content. Now, if someone wants to judge a content relevance, authority, so I think this is where once again AI can come into the play, because this can really predict a lot of the things. So I think yes, this is the future for online marketing, not only SEOs but everything. Whether you are in social medias, whether even you are in email marketing as well. In email, you need to make sure that your abandon rates are lesser. So you need to predict whether user would actually stay or click onto that. So I think this applies to everywhere. Like you should match the intent. That's it.
Yeah, and to add to Tuhin's word, when I started SEO, we used to look at density. We used to look at 1%, 3%, whatever percentages of keywords to add. Coming today, it has changed a lot. When you look at examples, for example, if you're selling dog toys, for example, right? You're an e-commerce store selling dog toys. You need to have those words which are not dog related, right? I mean, which are canine or puppies or kennels and all those things. Those are what relate to dogs and canines. So it's about relationships. When you search for Albert Einstein, for example, you get a lot of results about other scientists, because Google knows Albert Einstein is a scientist and scientist relates to X number of scientists. He's in that genre which will give you other scientist results. So it's all about relationships, indexing, and understanding how relationships works. And that's where it gets important. If you're trying to optimize for cats, felines, all those things that matter on the page. So you don't need to repeat keywords, you need to repeat or you need to make clear their context. And that's where it gets very interesting. It's untrue whether you have to have a certain density. Long form content is still somewhere there, depending on the topic. But keyword density is a concept, which is not relevant anymore, and it's all about context than that.
So I think to sum up, right, it's really making sure that the content makes sense. Like it's not spammy. It has the right amount of synonyms, right? I think semantics is just a fancy word for synonyms, and basically what really works for people. Like I remember in 2008, I was an SEO writer, and basically the order was just populate this with as many keywords as possible. So we've gone a long way from that, yeah. So I guess, okay, so I think I want to go back to Akil's point where SEO is not just limited to SEO, but really cuts across the digital marketing lifecycle. Can you guys help expound on this, even from a paid media perspective or website, landing pages, etc.?
So I think when I see it, and again, I would like to reiterate the quote which I said when starting, that it is across all the functions. It's not a functional job. I think it should be baked into marketing, because when you start with something, you have to understand how it is built, how the URLs are architected, how the content is written. So you need to have SOPs or guidelines for each of the departments. And I think it's very important to say that it's not how you should do it, how you can do better. Because you can't ask a subject matter expert to do it this way. They know their job better than you. You can just tell them how do you do it better, and that's where you foster relationships. Otherwise, it's very difficult to inbuild SEO into all the marketing channels.
I think you covered most of the point. Just adding on to that, I think SEO itself is not possible if multiple areas of an online marketing are not covered. Just like Akhil said, like obviously like a proper content marketing strategy, a proper PR strategy, a proper UX, because obviously that is one of the key factors. Like a site should be having a clean UX structure, and also the architecture as well. Proper development, no structural errors, no technical errors. So like going back to that, like I think SEO itself is a combination or a summation of a lot of things. If one thing goes wrong, then the success cannot be guaranteed, because you need to really perform. Like you need to be jack of all the trades but master of none. I think it doesn't matter if you strike like 9 on 10 on all the areas, but yes, you need to strike on all the areas. So I think yes, so that's it.
Thank you, guys.
And I'll just add that SEO is not guaranteed, to be very honest.
Yeah.
It can't be guaranteed. It can only be to a certain level. You can take up KPIs, you can take up certain numbers. That's fine. I mean,
It can just be enhanced.
yeah, it can just be enhanced. It can't be guaranteed.
Yeah, I just also want to add that it's not just the website that you can optimize, right? There's so many channels. You have your YouTube, you have your social media.
Apps for optimization.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really, the devil is in the details. There's so many things that we can do with SEO. And because we're speaking about measuring, right? Because it's the guarantee is not really immediate. So guys, how do you measure SEO at a smaller scale? How do you sell the results? And how do we start, asking for more budgets to take it, large scale?
Okay, so first of all, I think this question have 3 segments. The first thing is how we measure the performance of SEO on a small scale. So once again, I'll shift back to my first statement. So first of all, it really depends upon what the client really wants to measure. I often come across various clients. Few clients wants traffic improvement. Few just wants, no, I have this exact keyword. I just want this to be number 1, no matter what. I don't even care about the traffic. Few clients are like only want sales, like goal conversion, goal completion. Like if you work on with any agencies, then agencies also wants KPIs to improve, like the domain ratings, page ratings. So the first point is to understand what is the main objective of the campaign. So like understanding the objective, we can simplify that. And the second thing is, I think the best option to provide a measurement of an SEO is just 3 things in my opinion. The first thing is, if like all the efforts which we are doing, how the keywords ranking are shifting, because I think that is essential. If you have a set of keywords, if you do not have them, obviously this point is not applicable. The second thing is how the organic traffic is being recognized or enhanced, because the end of the day, the main purpose of online marketing is to drive customers to your business or traffic. And last but not the least, this is not related to SEO, because this is actually a separate concept of CRO, conversion rate optimization. But yes, various clients are there specifically for the enterprise level clients, where people wants how their sales cards are performing, or how the goal completion, like form fill-ups, sign-ups, phone calls are being tracked. So I think This is how we can measure that. Then selling the results, I think you do not have to sell if you are working in the right trajectory. But as Akhil said, like performance cannot be guaranteed. But what I would say is like, yes, this can be enhanced. Like we provide weekly growth charts so that people can see, like people can really measure the apples versus the apples, and they can see like, okay, the campaign is setting. Like you should climb the ladder. It's not like you need to jump to the 10th tier at once, but you need to jump one by one. So the most important thing is you need to jump each tiers every single week or month or quarter, depends upon the nature of the campaign. Obviously, if now me and Akhil works on a Walmart, so if I say that we will provide improvement in 1 month, this would sound like a spam or a scam even. But yes, if you are working on a single landing page and a local SEO, maybe in a radius of 10 kilometers, in that case, yes, 1.5 or 2 months I think is enough for that to perform. So it depends upon the nature of the businesses. And lastly, how clients can upsell. Basically, upselling strategy. I think upselling strategy is like if you want to convince a client to invest more budget, I think the most fundamental thing which every one of us should realize is if the client is actually having any benefit out from the SEO campaign. So for justifying the benefit, I think here what we do, various approaches are different, but what we do is like we compare the goal conversion. Now goals can be anything, can be phone calls, can be like asking for quotes, can be like form fill-ups, can be even like for an e-commerce, can be even revenue, like specifically for Shopify websites. So that is the thing, like after a certain time, if we can make the client feel that, okay, you are investing $100 a month and we are providing you $10,000 in a month, so you guys are seeing 100% revenue into like kind of. So why don't you upsell and you try maybe a $1,000 package. So this upsell only works if we can show in a mathematical or in a statistical way that the return on the investment is justified up to a certain extent. So then we do an upselling strategy wherein the clients can be upsell to like increase their budget, to increase the deliverables, like increase the number of they can increase the number of keywords, they can increase the number of product pages, category pages, they can even include a lot of products as well. So a lot of things can be done. So this is my take.
And I think closing enough. I think to add to this, obviously you can measure revenue from SEO and all those things, but when you talk about selling, whom are you selling to? If you need to sell to your content team that SEO is important, you need to probably show them the number of pages that are in the search engines. How much of the content is being seen or indexed or known by the search engines, right? I think that is important for them to realize the value of the inputs they're giving. If you're working with a CMO, then how can you save their budgets on paid media? How can you collaborate with the paid teams to not bid on brand keywords or not bid on keywords which SEO is taking up? How do you measure the combined CTR or the value of the keyword and let SEO take charge and the paid team take other areas of non-brand, right? So I think it's that collaboration between teams which helps you sell SEO within the team. And if your teams agree SEO works, then of course as a one voice you can put it out there and say SEO works because you have the revenue. It's the internal teams that you have to convince. I think that's important. And what works for them, what are their KPIs, how are they measured? If you're able to make a stance at that, then you would have won the game.
Thank you guys. I think that was really great point. So I think we'll wrap things up. But before anything else, do you have any questions around SEO? Okay. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Akhil. Thank you, Deej.